Hi everyone, welcome. This is Neon City from my game Neon City Courier Service for the BUU AI Art Game Jam. This video dives more deep into the inspiration and the creation process of my game. Coming to the jam, seeing how others are creating sci-fi worlds, and since AI generating literal game-ready 3D models is quite sci-fi to me, I knew that I wished to create a sci-fi city. The city takes great inspiration from some of the very cool assets created by Cinti Studio, and for better or worse, I have chosen this isometric camera view. The idea was I will create the game with isometric orthographic, or let's say 2D camera, and then I'll add a layer of fog beneath it which will completely hide the misgivings of AI generated models. That's exactly what I did, and it worked in some cases as well. First thing you may see on checking out this level would be the neon glow, and this glow can also be changed to fit a color of your choice. Let's begin with how this was made possible. Quite early during development of the project, BUU generated this awesome model. With it, I had the plan of separating each model from this model and create the entire level with just this. But sadly or luckily, separating the models created quite problems, as after separating the model, some models didn't had entire faces, and adding neon light to these buildings became quite difficult as textures are massive and not very editable. So I came back to BUU and instructed to generate one sci-fi building again and again, and luckily for me, BUU kept the styles of model completely same, giving me this awesome set of sci-fi buildings to work with. Although the buildings came with lights on them, there was no glow emitted from them, as they didn't have emission maps. So I tried to create emission maps myself, editing out the main texture. Now sadly, perhaps due to my lack of knowledge about 3D modeling and texturing, the generated textures for the models for emission map were quite messy, and they didn't really prove to be very effective. So what I did to gain the glow on each building was where their glow is supposed to be, on there I have positioned and scaled primitive shapes like squad, cylinder and sphere on top of the models and applied the glow material to them. From some smaller models, this endeavor was quite easy, but for larger models like the skyscrapers, took quite a lot of work to put together, as they had a lot of glowy parts with let's say the glow material on it. And to wrap it all together, I have used Unity's post-processing with a bloom effect with a tint color for each, let's say, respective color scenes, and this is how the glow effect was created. Entirety of the level was made with carefully placed models all over the map. It first started with just one city block of few buildings, and then I have created roadways around the city blocks, and later a complete rectangular roadway to mark the size of the map, and then filled the city with the buildings, streetlights and a lot of other props. And to keep variety, the entire city is also not just a set of buildings. There are locations such as parking lots, schools, hospital and restaurants. Now let's talk about other aspects of the game. Just as there is a glow on the map, there is devices to reduce the glow too. The game has quite a nice fog and rain system. The fog is always on the level. You can see them when you go to the edges of the levels. They act as a counter of glow and give the scene more depth. Furthermore, there is an awesome rain system for each levels of the game too. From the main menu, pressing enable rain enables this effect on the game instantly, and also it steadily increases the volume of fog that is on the scene to make the game more impactful. Here's a before and after of the fog when rain arrives. To maneuver through the game, the player is also given these awesome hovering vehicles. Now, while almost all of the models in this level is generated by BUU, sadly the vehicle models are not. It's not as if BUU cannot generate cars, it's just that I don't know much about cars, being a bike girl myself, and also there's the impeccable fact that I ran out of all BUU platform credits. Anyway, pressing the horizontal keys A, D, or the left and right arrow keys rotates the vehicle left and right, and it tilts the vehicle on Z axis while doing so as well. And pressing the vertical keys, WS or up down arrow keys, the vehicle moves forward or backward. I use a combination of both the arrow keys and WASD keys to move the vehicle. It also has a short engine sound, or let's say short engine sound system to it, but sadly it is taken over by all the ambient and terrain audio in the game. Here's a quick look at the code behind the car logic. There is also moving cars seen on the level, which flies over the player. Quite a clever technique I've used to make this happen. Now each cars are designed to just move forward, so whenever they're active on the scene, that is. What I have done is, to the player vehicle, I have set a lot of look at targets for the cars, or for the flying cars which will be spawned, and position spawn points for the flying cars all over the minimap. With a minimum and a maximum delay, once a car is spawned on the game, I'm rotating it towards one of the rotation target that is in the players, and I'm destroying it after a certain amount of time has passed. Now what this does is, this will spawn our vehicle and it will completely send the vehicle to one of the player targets, and the car will hover just right over where our player is. So the car player, or let's say the car hover effect, is more visible when the player is not moving very much. Anyway, this is how the car passing by player effect is created. Each car also comes with trails. Now the trails are let's say scene specific. For each scene, the car spawner script also holds what the color the scene contains, and the trail helpers, they can listen, or let's say they can read this value and set the correct trail colors. For the city also has two different type of borders, sealing it into one place. In one side we have the sea and beach. There is umbrella and benches around the beaches. Now considering that the level in this level night never ends, the umbrellas are there just to imitate sunbathing. Sunbathing doesn't really happen in Neon City. The other two sides of the border has desert. The desert is quite cool, as the neon glow is more subtle in there. It becomes a complete new environment as you go through it. And magic of BUU AI, this also is generated with sci-fi style, which matches perfectly with the game, and it was quite a nice surprise to me. When the game introduces itself, you're greeted with prompts which says that you are a package carrier pilot for the game, and you absolutely are. To give a sense of task and to take the player furthermore into the level, I've created a simple objective system, which is dropping off parcels at locations. On the beginning of the game, a parcel is enabled for the player to collect it. The parcel, or let's say the objective, creates these arrows on the screen, which shows in which direction the parcel is and how far the player is from it. Once the player collides with these parcel objectives, then a new parcel is created on a random place, continuing this loop of creating and dropping parcels. However, I recommend at least once trying the game without the objective system, and you can do this easily by hiding the objective by pressing the hide objective button on the corner of the screen. This way the player can enjoy only the scene of the game without any distraction. One thing while collecting the package through the desert areas would be, even when you hover over the parcels seem to not collect it. The reason behind this is where you may see yourself in orthographic or 2D camera is where you might not be on the 3D world. Now for the desert packages, the packages are lower from their city counterpart, so while you may think you're on top of it, you are actually not on top of that package. Even though I have made the package trigger for the desert objectives quite huge, you may still have a bit of trouble collecting this for this reason. So I recommend, if you're facing issues with collecting let's say the packages on the desert areas, just approach the package from different side of it and you will be easily able to collect that package. And yeah, this is about it for my game Neon Courier Service. It was quite an experience creating this level. This game jam was awesome and I'm quite thankful to its organizers. However, this is a game jam with prizes. I really do hope the game wins one of the prizes. That will truly pay for all the handicrafts I have received while creating these levels. Well, this is it. I thank you very much for seeing this video till the end. I wish you a wonderful day, and until then, see you next time.